welcome back to Comic Book Wednesdays, a somewhat weekly series where we discuss comic books. We're your hosts. I'm Ian.
And I'm Shane.
Shane, why don't you tell us what we're reading this week?
Yeah, so today we are continuing from the last time we streamed. We're doing Ghostbusters issues 4, 5, and 6. Um, Ending the I call it the Stay Puffed arc and starting the next arc. Um, Initial thoughts, gentlemen?
Um, yeah, so the Stay Puffed arc, as you call it, is so on the nose with the movies and how it ends. I was like, we've seen this before. We've we've done this.
Yeah, it
Uh,
was very much the same, minus the Blues Brothers.
yes, minus the Blues Brothers. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So it's kind of like an Easter egg and kind of like a universal crossover kind of thing. So Dan Aykroyd played Elwood Blues. He also played Ray Stantz. And so when they made this comic, they were like, we want to throw in a character that only Ray is gonna know that might come up, and so they put in the other blues brother, but they don't make it clear as to how Ray knows him. It's just that's just a friendly guardian ghost that Ray has, but Blues Brothers fans are like, no, we know what's up.
Yeah, it's like a joke almost. Like
Yeah.
it's fun. I like that a lot. It there just seems to be a lot of pop culture references with these comics, which is fun. And it's kind of like cool seeing the Easter eggs, finding them.
I really enjoyed the clown starting in the new arc that looked exactly like old school Pennywise. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, that's. I was like, whoa, that's Pennywise, and next thing I know, he's throwing up bats. It's like, oh, okay. Um, so you call the first arc Stay Puft. Well, what do you call the second arc that we're in?
I was so the second arc. Um, I'm just going for something simple. I'm just calling it the Greed Demon.
See,
And
I
the
was just
reason
gonna
why,
say Carnival arc, but go ahead.
yeah, the Carnival arc. So the reason I went with Greed Demon is because I remember the end issue where it was talked about how this thing was was a curse, and I actually wrote a story at one point about it, like curse carnivals. I've always just found it fascinating, and the in the end where they were trying to get the soul of the little boy free, they were like, what do we do? And he was just like, well, no, you're too pure, I can't do anything with you. You have ambition, but you're more of you're academically inclined, you only want to learn things, you're not like an evil prick. And then they basically were like, you Venkman, you're an evil prick. All right, cool, I'm going for you.
Yeah, shit.
Which
So
I want to say that might be a little bit of shade thrown at Bill Murray because of how much of. Oh yeah, he doesn't ever want to. He didn't ever wanted to do things, and apparently some of the rumors were going that he only wanted to continue doing it if they just kept upping his pay. Whereas for Dan Aykroyd and the actor who played Egon, it was more of we're just doing this for fun because we're enjoying it. Yeah, we're getting paid, but it's more about the fact that we're doing it. And for Bill Murray, it was always oh no, I'm doing this to make money.
Bill Murray is funny like that. It's like you can't ever tell if he's being serious about shit like that. It's like
Mm-hmm.
even in a movie like Zombieland, he had the Ghostbuster references and stuff, and I don't know. It's like how much. And in today's day and age, Bill Murray is Bill Murray, but at the same sense, is he really doing anything now? No, he was in one of the newer Ghostbuster movies, right, Shane?
Um,
Or was he in both?
no, he was in both.
He was in both. I didn't see the second one yet, so
Yeah, no, he was in both. I won't say where, but
oh, I'm sure there's a way for me to watch it. And with spooky season coming up, I'm gonna dive into it.
oh yeah.
Yeah. But no, I'm enjoying these comic books. I I caught the scene where we had the I guess future member of another Ghostbusters team getting tech information. That
Mm-hmm.
that was quick. They squeezed that in there.
Yeah, no, I was such a fan of that cartoon when I was a kid for the Extreme Ghostbusters. And so when I was originally like reading these way back when and I saw her, I was like, I know you. Yep. Exactly. Yeah.
It's awesome. It's not a moment that I didn't watch that cartoon, so
Mm-hmm.
it was new to me. But, and then there was the scene with the what I was referring to is the envelope with the pictures and stuff. The guy was sitting in the diner.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that one. Because I'm assuming he's going to be part of a Ghostbusters team also. He's the one who wanted to franchise the Ghostbusters, right? He was
Yeah.
like, why can't we all do this? You know, what makes them special? It was that
Well, if
guy.
I remember correctly, he actually was in one of the old school cartoons too.
Oh, was he? Okay.
I think he was on the same team as the girl.
Oh, well there you go. See, I don't know these things. I'm learning.
Yeah, it was him, the girl, and then it was one other character in a wheelchair, and that was like, oh, okay, I might be thinking of a different.
I
Okay.
mean, Shane has read the comic more than we have, so
If by read the comic you mean I read it incredibly quickly once over a Christmas break for school, it's been a minute.
fair enough. Well, let me ask you this: if I wanted to bring in more Ghostbusters media, where do I watch this cartoon? Is it on streaming anywhere?
I don't think it's on streaming anywhere. That being said, I can get it for you.
Well, I'm not gonna make you do that because then you would have to like send me a drive or something, wouldn't you? Or
No, no, it would literally take me 5 minutes.
okay,
I could find it for you. Let's put it that way.
okay, perfectly legal means.
Yeah.
That was a joke.
No, it was so Ghostbusters media that like cuz we're going to see some of this like in the upcoming issues and like depending on how far we go. I was telling Al this with the comics, they flow like to go back to Al's point before we started recording. He made a very good point where he was saying that like they're kind of like TV episodes. Al, do you want to talk about that for a little bit? Because I have a great point to add to that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. There's almost like a mini time skip. And you're like, well, what what happened? Where am I at? And then some. It's like here, I'm just gonna read and trust that it's gonna make sense eventually.
Yeah. Honestly, I felt the same thing when I was entering in that, and like to pause on that issue for just a second, Egon said something that really was kind of an echo for things today, which I thought was oddly fascinating. Egon was talking about writing a book, and he was like, "Yeah, I just plugged a bunch of things into an algorithm and like fed it a bunch of words that people would find appealing, and I guess people like it." We did get that like little bit of teaser where Egon thought he saw someone and tried to run across the street. I have no idea what that's about, but I'm interested. But the thing that really got me was like he used AI to write a story. How often is that happening today?
It's pretty meta.
Yeah, because
I
there's
mean,
as of right now, there's unless you run it through like editing programs and things like that, like you could have an AI software write an entire book for you and then just edit it to make it look like a person.
yeah. I mean, I'll be honest. I don't use AI to write D&D stuff, but I do put it into like Chat GPT, and I'm like, hey, this is my idea. What do you think? Like what is your like? What would you do? And then like
Yeah, like a
AI is
tool.
like, yeah, exactly. AI is like, well, I'll do this or this, and I'm like, or here's a list of names. Thank you for and I'll tweak stuff. Um, with Al's character background, a lot of that was AI generated, and I just tweaked it so it didn't sound weird, you know.
Yeah,
And it turned out pretty. Yeah, it was pretty decent. So like, but AI man, that is kind of meta to see that in the Ghostbusters comic. The fact that we're dealing with that, and probably when this was written, that was like future shit. You know what I mean? Like,
mm-hmm.
when do these comics come out? Do we know?
So I do have like a thing. So I think for that issue, it started in like 2011, 2012, right when we were getting out of high school.
Okay, yeah. So I wouldn't even be fathoming AI at that point.
Yeah, that was just like, oh, Egon did that? Yeah, Egon's a future man. He can do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, no, that was just one of the points I wanted to bring up before I forgot because, like, that, him being like, yeah, I did this, it's fine. It's like, well, that's actually happens quite often these days.
Yeah, now anybody can do it. Like Egon, like you're not special in 2024 as far as yeah, but that was God 20. That's like 12 years ago, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus.
Oh, God, when you put it like that, that feels so weird. Ah.
Yeah, man. I was
Oh, that's weird.
12 years ago. I was 20. Yeah. Sad Al noises.
It's alright, we're just a bunch of old fucks talking about comics. I like it.
Yeah. Oh shoot. No, I've been enjoying these. Unfortunately, like I reviewed them again, like I said last night and today, but it's
Sure.
not as fresh as if when I read them initially 2 weeks ago.
I mean,
Hence,
I took quite a bit of notes, so that's fair. I don't mind carrying.
yeah, bring me some points. Bring me some talking
Sure,
points.
sure, no worries. So I liked the foreshadowing with that person that Egon saw because I've seen that done like the way that that was done, where he like saw that person across the street and like he refused to tell Venkman who it was. Now Venkman, as we know, like was always like kind of that like, oh, I'm judgy because that's just how I am, and like that's how he was written.
Hmm.
But like he refused to talk about it, and like even talking about his book, it was like pulling teeth. And like I know Egon's always been like the antisocial person, but I don't know what they're referencing for who he saw. But like him as the character, he doesn't like you'd think that he has like a certain like the certain group that he hangs out with is it. So for there to be this like random person that like we're gonna presume is potentially dead or potentially missing, I just find that fascinating from him of all people.
I hope that's a good payoff. Looking forward to finding out what it is.
Yeah, no, me too, because I don't remember any of that. Let me see. Like I said,
Kind
I
of
took
worries
quite
me
a bit of. Oh yeah, how come?
that you don't remember it. Meaning, was it either like just a either it was so long ago you just don't remember, or it was such a small part of the plot that it didn't matter.
I'm going to guarantee and say that when I read these, it was during like finishing up my degree. And so like I had a Christmas break where I was with my in-laws. I had gotten some money on Amazon. I found out that there were Ghostbusters comics and I went ham, bought them all cuz they were on sale. Like digitally, and so I got every single issue that I possibly could, and whenever there was a new one I just snagged it, read as much as I could, and then as soon as Christmas break ended, I went right back to finishing my history degree. So like that was straight up just like, oh cool, I read these as quick as possible, enjoyed the story. Now I'm gonna go focus on schoolwork, and I have no idea what the hell I read.
That's
Um, let me see. So I'm getting the suspicion that Peck is the one that's like doing some of the funding with this Ghostbuster team because like he's always hated that he can't regulate the Ghostbusters, and he's one of the ones that has access to the technology. So like I honestly think that like he's trying to fund and outsource them so that he can have his own like team that he can regulate.
makes sense to me. The motive's there. Absolutely, I can see that happening. And like, why bring in a random new character that nobody would really know? Yeah,
Yeah.
makes the most sense. I like that. Um, I need to say, like, when they swapped arcs per se, we went to
Mm-hmm.
this new like greed arc, you would say, or the carnival arc.
Yeah.
Um, I find it more enjoyable because the first one felt so much like the movie to me, where like just like Stay Puff was there, Gozer, all of it. It was very like where it's familiar and it's easy to dive into. I was looking
Mm-hmm.
forward to expanding on the lore a little, and having different ghosts for them to go up against it. So now we have the Native American ghost in Curse. Like that seems cool to me. Seeing them
Yeah.
tackle something new. Yeah,
And I
absolutely.
I honestly completely agree with you. Like, I think that the way, like, back to Al's point, I think the way they wrote it was designed to be like, hey, we don't think we're going to make a lot of money off of this. Let's just stick to what we know to get people interested. And then when there was interest, it was kind of this moment of like, oh, shit, okay, cool. Now we can, let's start getting into our own thing and not like having to worry about copycatting or anything like that.
Yeah, they're like, we got greenlit all these books, so we can continue. So for the time being, we got our story arcs planned out. So maybe we might see a little bit more of a natural flow. Maybe.
I'm hoping so. I mean, like it's from a literary perspective, they like following the steps of like the traditional story arc is what like a lot of TV shows and a lot of movies do. And I want them to break away from that because I think that they have enough standing lore and standing characters to begin those things on their own. And we saw them planting the seeds of this within like the first three issues. And so like they were they were cooking for like what they wanted to do, but I don't know what the reason behind it why they couldn't do those things right away. But I want to see like how they can come into their own thing.
Per-
Like this isn't just a rewatch of movie one and movie two. Like I want it to be like, oh, this is Ghostbusters.
Perhaps they wanted to pay homage to those movies and we're
Yeah,
overthinking it.
that's a good point.
Um,
Yeah, Lady D's.
all right, so I have a point that I would like to make that I will
Yeah.
give credit to a friend of mine. We were actually talking Ghostbusters, maybe like a week, maybe 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and his name's Zach. I do the podcast with him, and he loves the first Ghostbusters movie. Um, he likes the he doesn't feel nostalgia or anything for it. He feels like he likes the cynical aspect of the movie, the comedic aspect of the movie. He thinks that Ghostbusters, um, as a franchise, should be something that is comedic and very cynical. Because that's what the first movie was. So when they rebooted the franchise and came up with Afterlife, and then excuse me, the second one, Frozen Empire.
Frozen Empire. Yep.
Yeah, when they tried to like pull on heartstrings and have this nostalgia fest, he was like, I don't like it because that's not what Ghostbusters is to me. Like, I want a
Mm-hmm.
cynical comedy. I want like the Bill Murray comedy, that kind of stuff, like,
Yeah.
and it just didn't hit that vibe. Now,
Mm-hmm.
he then went a step further and said the people that feel the feel good nostalgia are the kids that watched the cartoons from that era or bought the toys and things like that, and not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily the people who enjoy the first Ghostbusters movie.
Interesting. Okay.
And
Huh.
Alice is interesting. I can see where it's coming from. And Shane, you've just been kind of making noises in the microphone.
I'm making noises because it's I love that thought because it's getting my brain to turn.
Mm-hmm.
I had a bit of an opposite experience. So I watched Ghostbusters 1 and 2 when I was a kid. And then I didn't see the real Ghostbusters 80s cartoon. I just, I
Right.
never got the chance to watch it. Oh, I'm since now that Ian put the thought in my head of getting the Extreme Ghostbusters, my brain just went, yeah, why not? I'll get them all. Oh, don't worry, I got you. Um, See, this is the evil superpower of having a history degree and being paid to find things. I'll just use my powers for evil. Don't worry, I got it. Uh, but so okay, so I watched Extreme Ghostbusters and fell in love with it. When when Ghostbusters Afterlife came out, I went into it thinking like, okay, this is probably going to be campy. This is probably going to just be a return to nostalgia. And that's what got me into it. Was just like I really enjoyed 1 and 2. Like that was some of the like I really enjoyed that a lot. And so the reason why I like Frozen Empire is not for the nostalgia and not for its own cinema. Cause like that movie is not going to win any awards. Like it was good, but it wasn't like, oh wow, this is amazing. Like, it was good. Um, I in reading the comics in between watching those two new movies, I see the potential for them to make their own Ghostbusters universe and start making original things because I honestly felt like Frozen Empire was an original story. Because Afterlife was just kind of like okay, we're going to take a lot of elements from the first one, tweak some things here and there, make it new, make it hip, whatever, and send it off. And that's kind of what they did. There was so many of that like initial elements, but like in Frozen Empire, that was their attempt at being like, no, this is an original story. Yeah, we're gonna throw in some references here and there, but the references are gonna be minimal because we don't have anything to bank on because this is a new enemy. This is a new thing. And so that's where my brain goes, oh, they can pull from the comics if they want to and start creating an actual universe.
Absolutely could.
And
Yeah.
that's what I want to see is its own universe like that.
Yeah, and I think like what you might end up seeing is like we see with comic book movies as a whole right now is like they pull ideas from the source material and then like Hollywood tweaks them slightly.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, how well will it land? It depends on who's writing them, you know. But
Yeah, but that was the reason why I was staying quiet is because like I can absolutely see that perspective, and for me it was kind of like a both
I got
where,
you.
and
Absolutely.
so that's why I was like, oh, that's fascinating because it is both.
Fair. That's absolutely fair. Um, I don't have a connection to Ghostbusters. Like I enjoy the first movie. I've seen the second one a couple times. I've never seen the 2016 one. I think that's the
Frozen
original
Empire
one.
or
No,
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 Afterlife.
no. Afterlife. The
Oh,
all. Yeah, I have never seen that one. I've seen
uh,
Afterlife, and I
okay,
haven't seen Frozen Empire yet. I don't plan to see the all girls cast one, where
that's good.
Chris Hemsworth is. Yeah,
um, I will say that's no hate on the actors, no hate on the like the. I really liked the villain of the All Girls cast, or Answer the Call. That universe, we'll call it that. I really liked the villain. I thought that was a nice original concept for a Ghostbusters villain, and I really respected their choice in doing it because that could have been fascinating. I really had an issue with the writing. And I feel like that writing set them up for failure and they could have succeeded. That being said, the comic does a fantastic job of taking them, integrating them into the Ghostbusters universe, and making it flow seamlessly.
interesting.
Depending on how long we read, we might get to it, we might not, but I do remember reading that. And in case we don't get to it, the explanation that they gave in the comic was more or less every universe has to have a Ghostbusters team because it's a canon event for you to have paranormal fighters decreed by like some council of like bunch of different deities that there has to be a way to combat these threats. And so every universe has a Ghostbusters team, and in that universe, it just so happened to be
Them.
that it just so happened to be them. Yeah.
Okay. It's interesting. I knew we've talked about that briefly before, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around the idea of like a multiverse type of Ghostbusters thing. And then
Fair.
like I can hear like the masses of people on the internet being like, "Oh my god, more multiverse." It's well, to be fair, it has been Marvel has been doing their multiverse thing now. It feels like forever because they were just shoving project after project out of their like asshole, you
Mm-hmm.
know, for a long time now. But it hasn't been that long, you know. It's only been
No,
since
you're right.
2021. It's just
Oh, it's just
so
Wow.
Also, like other people are doing it too. Like there's a lot of people doing the multiverse thing. But, rest that's a tangent for another day.
All good. All good. But yeah, I'm glad you guys are liking them, and we're gonna do 789 for next week. And just to
Okay.
give you both a heads up, the week of the 18th, I will not be here. I have to go down to Gunny. Um, so not this week, but the following, I won't be here for that. But I can, but we'll do the next issues next week.
All right. Then I'm gonna give you a heads up. So the weekend after that, so the week after the 18th,
Aha.
the 25th, I will be
Yeah.
in Portland. So we have
Nice.
only one more week of comics in September, the 11th.
Okay, and then we'll just take a little bit of a break.
Yeah. All right. All right. Well, Al's gonna be doing comics by himself the last 2 weeks of September. It's actually no longer Comic Book Wednesdays. It's now Comic Corner with Al. It's it's
That's
a
right.
it's a videoed project. He wears a bathrobe, sits in a big armchair, and he has a pipe.
It looks looking very dapper.
Yeah.
I highly recommend everyone checking out.
Yep. 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 I don't know. Well, on that note, I think we're ready to wrap up.
Yeah, no, I
All
think
right.
that was good, and we'll do the next issues next week. Thank you. Glad you guys are enjoying them. I'm excited to see where it goes.
Whoever finds this video on the YouTubes, I'm sorry. Have a good night.
And to the people tuning in, thank you and good night.